Greetings, my friend. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. And remember, my friend, future events such as these will affect you in the future.
It has been regarded as the worst movie ever made, a claim repeated reflexively in one source after another, sometimes with derision, sometimes as a badge of honor. But the strange case of Plan 9 from Outer Space is much more complicated than just being a bad movie, or even a so bad it's good movie. Plan 9 is, strangely, an almost good movie that fails hilariously at every step to become one of the most unintentionally entertaining films ever made. Allow me to begin with a question. What is a bad movie? It's surprisingly difficult to answer that question, because it rests somewhere in the intersection between formal characteristics and personal taste. When I assess films, I tend to think of a two-axis, four-quadrant model. One axis is personal subjective taste, whether you like a movie or dislike a movie. The other axis is objective, formal characteristics. Is the script, the cinematography, dialogue, direction, editing, score, and acting of a high quality or a low quality? Now, many people, I fear, confuse and conflate these two things because they've never been taught to think about cinema. It's the refrain that you can't say a movie is good or bad because it's a personal opinion, which is not true at all. There are formal characteristics you can judge objectively. But conversely, just because a movie is formally good doesn't mean you have to enjoy it. There are good movies I don't like, and bad movies I do like. And there are also good movies I like, and utterly execrable movies that are both bad and boring. So it isn't right to say that Plan 9 is an altogether bad movie. I mean, it is a bad movie if you consider its formal characteristics, but I've actually seen a lot worse. Films with far more pedestrian direction, far worse acting, if you can believe it, and far lower production values. And if anything you can say about Plan 9, you can't say that it isn't entertaining. On either count, objective quality or subjective taste, Plan 9 isn't even the worst Ed Wood movie, let alone the worst movie ever made. No, Plan 9 is a movie that is almost good. It has an almost good story and almost compelling ideas. It has almost glittering moments of dialogue and almost inspired cinematography. It has an almost charismatic cast and almost starred Bela Lugosi. But it consistently falls short on every possible metric. And when it doesn't just render the film mediocre. It fails hilariously. It pratfalls. Its failures are themselves almost inspired. Like, you couldn't deliberately replicate them. Many have tried to make fake bad movies, but even the wonderful Lost Skeleton of Cadavra is nothing on the hilariously entertaining earnestness of Plan 9. Somehow, these hilarious failures make Plan 9 something more than merely a bad movie, or a so bad it's good movie. It's hard to say exactly what Plan 9 is. As I said, the story, the plot, is almost inspired. Ed Wood throws himself beyond the science fiction genre to draw upon purported real-life UFO sightings. Extraterrestrials have been trying to contact Earth because our science is on the verge of developing a type of superweapon that can ignite solar photons, which would in turn destroy the universe. But in our ignorance and fear of the unknown, we have responded to alien visitation with violence. So the aliens feel they have no choice but to resort to their ninth plan, to collapse human civilization through an invasion not from above, but from below. The resurrected corpses of our own dead. Plan 9 is a hybrid science fiction movie in the Day the Earth Stood Still vein, and a zombie apocalypse movie made a decade before Night of the Living Dead. Almost. The zombie invasion just ends up being Tor Johnson, Vampira, and Bela Lugosi. Almost. Plan 9 was actually built around footage Ed Wood had shot of his friend Bela shortly before his death, with no real concept or direction in mind. Bela in front of Tor Johnson's house. Bela at the funeral. Bela in his Dracula costume, running around a field. After Bela passed away, Wood sought to use this footage in a final film for the beloved, yet forgotten, horror star. So Bela becomes the mournful old man whose wife, Vampira, has passed away. Vampira. Mila Nurmi was a Hollywood model and aspiring actress who created the character of Vampira as the first TV horror host in 1954, and she became something of a pop culture phenomenon. Despite her show being cancelled in 1955, she had given a hip, modern shape, and shapeliness, to the post-war fad for monster kitsch. She drove around Los Angeles in her 1932 Packard, did various TV variety show appearances with Bela, was featured in magazines, won an Emmy for Outstanding Female Personality, and was the partial inspiration for Maleficent in Disney's Sleeping Beauty. She was a bona fide celebrity spook. It was natural, then, for Ed Wood to cast her when Plan 9 went into production in 1956. Despite her being 34 to Bela Lugosi's 74. Not that Vampira and Bela shared the screen at the same time. With a dead star, Ed Wood had to find a replacement, and that came in the shape of Wood's chiropractor, whom Bela paid an offhand compliment about them having similar ears. Good enough for Ed Wood. The rest of the cast are a motley assortment of Z-list Hollywood eccentrics. Professional wrestler Tor Johnson, the flamboyant drag queen Bunny Breckenridge, TV psychic the amazing Criswell, the very earnest radio actor Dudley Manlove. Gregory Walcott, forced on the production by the Baptist Church that financed the movie, was the closest thing to an actual actor in the whole production. He had already done 14 films by the time Plan 9 was released.
I saw a flying saucer.
Saucer? You mean the kind from up there?
Yeah, its counterpart. It was shaped like a huge cigar. Dan and Edith saw it too. And when it passed over, the whole compartment lighted up with a blinding glare. Then there was a tremendous wind that practically knocked us off our course.
Well, did you report it?
Yeah, I radioed in immediately, and they said, we'll keep it quiet until you land. And as soon as we landed, Big Army brass grabbed us and made us swear to secrecy about the whole thing. Oh, it burns me up. These things have been seen for years. They hear. It's a fact. And the public ought to know about it.
There must be something more you can do about it.
Only there isn't. Oh, but what's the use of making a fuss? But last night I saw a flying object that couldn't have possibly been from this planet. But I can't say a word. I'm muzzled by Army brass.
Of particular note are Conrad Brooks and Paul Marco. The pair formed the attempted comedy duo of Patrolman's Jamie and Kelton, respectively. Marco's Kelton the Cop is a recurring character in Wood's movies, forming the backbone of an informal trilogy between 1955's Bride of the Monster, 1957's Plan 9 from Outer Space, and 1959's Night of the Ghouls.
Scared?
Well, why do I always get hooked up with these spook details? Monsters, graves, bodies. Oh, all right.
In the chain of events, it was Criswell who introduced Marco to Ed Wood, who in turn introduced Wood to his short-time roommate Bunny Breckenridge. These Hollywood eccentrics hold up what otherwise would be a bad cast of bad actors and non-actors.
Did you hear anything?
I thought it did.
Don't like hearing noises, especially when there ain't supposed to be any.
Yeah, sort of spooky like.
Maybe we're getting old.
Whatever it is, gone now.
That's the best thing for us, too. Gone.
Yeah, let's go.
But the material they have to work with is nonetheless difficult. Again, it's almost good. There's almost brilliant dialogue in some instances, almost profound musings, but something gets lost when it comes out of Ed Wood's head, pratfalls onto his typewriter, and then from the actors' mouths.
What do you think will be the next obstacle the Earth people will put in our way?
Well,
As long as they can think, we'll have our problems. But those whom we're using cannot think. They are the dead, brought to a simulated life by our electrode guns. You know, it's an interesting thing when you consider the Earth people who can think are so frightened by those who cannot, the dead. Well, our ship should be regenerated. We better get started.
Plan 9 also has one of my favorite scenes in all of classic science fiction, perhaps even all of classic Hollywood. The humans have traced the mysterious goings-on back to the alien saucer hiding in a Hollywood cemetery. Penetrating the ship, they encounter the alien agents, who attempt to explain the threat that humans pose to life in the entire universe.
You fiend.
I? A fiend? I am a soldier of our planet. I? A fiend? We did not come here as enemies. We came only with friendly intentions, to talk, to ask your aid.
Our aid?
Yes, your aid for the whole universe. But your governments of Earth refused even to accept our existence. Even though you've seen us, heard our messages, you still refuse to accept us.
Why is it so important that you want to contact the governments of our Earth?
Because of death. Because all you of Earth are idiots.
Now, you just hold on, Buster.
No, you hold on. First was your firecracker, a harmless explosive. Then your hand grenade. They began to kill your own people a few at a time. Then the bomb. Then a larger bomb. Many people are killed at one time. Then your scientists stumbled upon the atom bomb. Split the atom. Then the hydrogen bomb, where you actually explode the air itself. Now it brings the total destruction of the entire universe served by our sun. The only explosion left is the solar night.
Why, there's no such thing.
Perhaps to you, but we've known it for centuries. Your scientists will stumble upon it as they have all the others. But the juvenile minds which you possess will not comprehend its strength until it's too late.
You're way above our heads.
The solar night is a way to explode the actual particles of sunlight.
Why, that's impossible.
Even now, your scientists are working on a way to harness the sun's rays. The rays of sunlight are minute particles. Is it so far from your imagination they cannot do as I have suggested?
Why, a particle of sunlight can't even be seen or measured.
Can you see or measure an atom? Yet you can explode one. A ray of sunlight is made up of many atoms.
So what if we do develop this solar night bomb? We'd be even a stronger nation than now.
Stronger. You see? Your stupid minds. Stupid!
That's all I'm taking from you.
Get back here, you fool!
Let him finish.
It's because of men like you that all must be destroyed. Headstrong, violent, no use of the mind God gave you.
You talk of God?
You also think it impossible that we, too, might think of God?
It is, as others have noted, a kind of anti-Day the Earth Stood Still. We don't have a wise and enlightened extraterrestrial Christ allegory platonically warning us not to allow our technological grasp to exceed our ethical understanding. We have a guy freaking out at us, losing his shit over these backwards monkeys who threaten to destroy everything. And what do we do in reply? Punch his damn lights out. It's a fascinating scene for its insight into human psychology. Almost. It's also hilariously clunky, and Dudley Manlove makes a game attempt to repeatedly explain the absurdly named Solarmanite to the audience. Likewise, the cinematography really tries. Really tries. And it almost gets there. Take, for example, this scene. That's actually a really well done scene, in the classic tradition of gothic horror films. Almost. But then poor Tor Johnson can't get out of the damn grave, and the scene just keeps going until he does. Like, one take, man. Print it. The movie is filled with scenes like this. Competently staged, competently shot, almost well done. But then there's always something amiss. It might be the cheap sets. It might be the stilted acting. It might be a mistake that could have been resolved with a retake that for some reason never happened. And it's all hilariously wonderful. One of my favorite moments in Plan 9 comes right at the very end. As the credits draw to a close, a title proudly proclaims that it was filmed in Hollywood, USA. You can feel this palpable sense that Ed Wood loved what he was doing. This was his big one. This was his big Hollywood movie. The glamour, the prestige, the love of cinema embodied in this one phrase just says it all. I think that's really what pulls it all together for me. Plan 9 was made with love. It's almost good, which is a testament to how much Ed Wood cared and wanted to make a real, genuine, glamorous Hollywood science fiction movie to the best of his abilities. When his abilities fell short, they pratfalled dramatically and hilariously. But you can't laugh meanly at it, because it is so earnest. He just couldn't help it. And I just can't help loving it.